I'm Eric Wasserman. I'm a senior architect at Jam City. We make mobile games. In mobile games, we take in data that's extremely large, coming in hundreds of thousands of records per second. And so some of our most interesting uses of data are really around learning how our players engage with our games and how to make our games better. Prior to using Databricks, we were using a traditional data warehouse type architecture, which had a number of difficulties for us. Number one, it didn't scale well. It was very difficult to add capacity. The other problem was just the 24-hour sort of ETL cycle that we would have to endure made it so that we were kind of running the business by looking in the rearview mirror instead of looking at what was happening right now. The data science part of our business before Databricks was it was a lot of individual tests, so they had to be run over periods of time, trying to avoid overlapping each other. It was very difficult to automate the testing process. So it was much slower cycle. Sort of 24 hours was a minimum beat for something to change. We wanted to put our investment of our time into building our analytics and our machine learning models and not into building Spark clusters and managing those. So Databricks was very attractive from the perspective that it afforded us the ability to do that. What we didn't really appreciate was exactly how much more we would get out of using Databricks. As far as data science goes, it's really enabled us to do a lot more actual model building and deployment of models and experiments because not so much of the time is spent with the plumbing parts, right? It's really been a liberating experience. As far as using Delta goes, that has been a data engineering relief, essentially. There's a bunch of hard problems that you don't really appreciate until you face them. And we had faced those problems ourselves using Spark. And we're struggling to build systems ourselves to handle things like evolving schemas, replaying of data, that had errors in it, optimizing the representation of data in Parquet format in order to get good query performance, and Delta basically does almost all of that automatically. So Databricks is the heart of our data platform. Event type data is coming in through our proprietary collector system and then fed into a Kafka pub sub system. And from then, it's all Spark downstream of that. We load the data using structured streaming ETL jobs, store it in Delta tables, and then enrich those Delta tables with downstream streaming jobs and batch jobs that actually construct a data warehouse within Delta itself. So we have both the raw data and the enriched data in our data lake, and all of that's available to all of our downstream uses. The returns for moving to Databricks have been largely centered around how many more people can use the data. It's definitely changed the nature of how we approach virtually all the aspects of our business to make them more data-driven. And once you start using data to make decisions, you start making incremental gains. 10, 15% here and there across the board is not at all unusual. The latency on the data from when the data is produced till when we can make use of the information that comes from that data has gone from 24 hours to a couple of minutes, and even less in some cases. And that has a monumental effect on decision making, because we've gone from a cycle of asking a question, going through a bottleneck of gatekeepers who will try to answer that question through a process that may take days, to being able to answer the question within minutes. With Databricks, we're able to put all of our data and the power to get value from it into the hands of all of our employees. And that's a game changer for us.